Welcome everyone to another episode of the Get Inside Me show on Spreaker Radio. Of course, for those of you guys out there, thank you so much for checking out all the last episodes that you guys missed out. And I had no idea, it did become aware to me because I had some of you guys who do follow me on social media, as well as my YouTube channel, that had told me that I had some of my Spreaker episodes re-airing on my YouTube channel. I'm like, what? And coming to find out, yes, you guys are right. It does that. So thank you, Spreaker. And for those of you guys who may not know, on SoundCloud, pretty soon, as it goes to other ventures, I'll let you guys know. As you guys know, this is the week of, well, not week. This has been the early beginnings of the Get Inside Me show, all about book authors. We had the 20 topless, 40 nudes, Miss Anarchy, Pamela Anarchy. Then we had Paul Lamar Hunter with the 21st child, the success story, and all that great stuff. And now I have another book author by the name of Micheal Muse with Rise and Burn. Mr. Muse, how are you doing?
I'm doing excellent. How are you doing?
I'm so excited. I'm very excited because there's so much we have to say about this book. And we only have 30 minutes to speak about this book, and everything like that. But what I wanted to tell you was congratulations to this book. And for those of you listeners who may not know, this is not me and Micheal Muse's first time collaborating, because we did collaborate on a panel together, I believe either on my Get Inside Me show on Google Hangouts, or it had to be the Roxy Firestone show on Google Hangouts.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, because you were one of the people giving your professional opinions on there. Before we get into the book, Mr. Muse, if you don't mind sharing to people a little bit of your background of, who is Mr. Micheal Muse?
Oh, well, definitely, Patu. I definitely have an experience. And what motivated me to write this book right here is just what I went through 8 years ago when I suffered a heart attack, seizure, and kidney failure all at the same time. And that right there set the tone for everything I was trying to do right there. Because up until that time right there, I was running my business and I was working to build my business up, and I really had everything set and planned ahead of me. And I think just really.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Let me see if I can get a hold of Mr. Micheal Muse back online. But for those of you guys who might not know, it's a book where it's basically about fighting all odds and making the best of what, not allowing yourself to be limited when it comes to trials and tribulations and things like that, on what we spoke about in the book Rise and Burn. As well as... Oh, Micheal Muse, you're back?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm sorry. I saw that we had a little connection loss, but I got you back. As you were saying?
So definitely, that was the start of it. And when I looked at the fears I had to deal with, being in a hospital, almost dying 3 times, and even during that process, I was still getting businesses going and trying to get them going and selling. And I was really compelled by God to really share my experience, because I believe that experience is going to not only help a person in business, but also help the person who's having physical sickness and issues with their health, and truly just overall, if a person just looking for more hope and they're looking at themselves to grow, I truly believe this is a chance, and this book would be truly a factor for them.
Now, the question I wanted to ask you, the name Rise and Burn, because some people, when I did post it on the Get Inside Me show, some of them thought it was like a biblical book. They thought it was more like a, like a very serious, like religious book. But please tell us, how did you come about with this name, and why that name?
Oh man, this is phenomenal. What really motivated me when we look at anything that grows and then we build. It always has a foundation. And when we look at trees in particular, the roots have to be strong in order for them to grow. And so when I looked inside myself, and when I looked at my own fears, and I realized that in order for me to deal with my fears, I had to cut it at the root. I had to cut that root of procrastination. I had to cut that root of laziness. I had to cut those roots. And as I do that, to make sure I don't cut the good roots also, which is so very important. And as that process was taking place, I noticed how I was rising. I noticed how I was becoming a new me. I saw and felt myself being elevated all across the board. And definitely, I knew this is something that I need to share with other people.
See, now, the one thing that did stand out to me was when it came out to your book, you have it being released on the 30th of May, 2015. But I don't know if you know that I know that happens to be the day of your birthday, or do I have that wrong?
You have that absolutely correct.
So it's really cool how you have this book that you've written, and you're releasing it on your birthday. So, happy early birthday on the behalf of myself and the Get Inside Me show. And I also wanted to iterate more on your title, because I noticed that on your website, for those of you guys who may not know, you guys can also pre-order this book early on Micheal Muse's actual website. All the information you would like to know about Mr. Micheal Muse, you will definitely find it in the description box down below. And any and all updates, when you guys see the cover, Micheal Muse and all that, or you could just do pound Micheal Muse or pound Rise and Burn. I said pound hashtag. You'll find everything, all updates on the behalf of the Get Inside Me show when it comes to Micheal Muse, all the projects, especially Rise and Burn. I noticed that you wrote Rise and Burn, break free of the roots of your fears. So when you say fears, even though you rated not too long ago about it, but why use break free from your roots and fears? Do you think, what's the difference between the roots and the fears? Because the only reason I want to bring that up is because you have some people that think into it way too much, and it's really just, more of a, something just to represent one other thing.
Well, it's definitely representation. When you look at your fears, you have to get it to it grows. It grows either because the people we have around us who negatively influence us, and it also grows based on the experience that we're dealing with. And when we look at that deeply, and we realize once we make the changes of who's in our environment and who we allow to be in our circle, and when we look at our patterns of our behavior, and we look at our routine, and once we make the decision to change those things, we will truly see that we're not walking in that same path, and we're actually breaking that root away. And it's a beautiful thing when you're consistently doing one thing and you truly see yourself rising above it. And that's the whole premise for people to realize, is that when we attack our fears head on and be honest with ourselves and attach ourselves to the disciplines and the spirituality principles that we need, we can truly rise and become the person that we've always dreamed of becoming.
Do you think, personally speaking, that it's more challenging to do that in today's society compared to back when you were growing up, where people were more conscious of, understanding that the power of the thought, your power of words and what you speak out and things can and do change and reflect in your life, compared to people now where it's all about the latest. They're so occupied with, all these things that at the end of the day really doesn't hold clout and doesn't have any value or doesn't add value to their lives. But it's just that something, they're just into that. That's so occupied and busy with all that.
Exactly. I'm glad you said that, because the one thing, things that definitely have changed for the worse now. Definitely people are not conscious as they used to be. And of course, our minds, our brains have so much stimulation from so many different outside sources. Between media with the TV and news and social media and all those things, there's so many things our minds compete for our mind's attention. And one point that that I think that a lot of people have to get to. We have to get to a whole new central point of focus, a place that we can get through meditation and get through prayer, where we can actually get to a new level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I talk about in my book, is just having a focus of a declaration, where a person can actually start writing down the things they need to focus on and really meditate on, and to being consistent through the daily routine on staying on point. And truly, if a person is doing that and staying on point, they would definitely be able to uncover more and more who they don't want to be and become more and more of the person they want to be, you know?
You know, the craziest thing is I attended an uncle of mine's funeral 2 years ago, and it happened where I ended up having to go to, I think, a total of 4 or 5 funerals back to back. And you know how when you go to the funeral and you hear people's eulogy and things, and then you think to yourself, like, man, I would, you know, when I pass, you know, when that time comes, I would like to, you know, I don't know about other people, but I know for myself, I always thought of, you know, I would like for whatever my eulogy to say, for it to actually be me, instead of just having something nice to say, you know. The thing about your book is that a lot of times as individuals, we do try, or we tell ourselves that we're striving to be a better individual, a better person. But then it's like, do you really, every day, is that what your mission is? Every day, is that what you do? Is that what you consciously do? Because, you know, a lot of times you're like, I'm a good person. And you're thinking to yourself, like, when you hear other people talk about you, it's like, it's right. Really not, is that really you, though? You know?
Hey. And I truly believe that part of one of the chapters in the book, I talk about the splinters. Mm-hmm. And the story of the lion that's in the zoo. And there's one particular lion. He's always grumpy and mean. And, you know, he's not really interacting with anyone. And a little girl asked the zookeeper, why is he the one that don't want to move around? He's mean. And the zookeeper said, well, he has a splinter that he won't get out. He refused to let me get close to so I can take it out. And he said, the zookeeper said, when he hurts bad enough, he'll turn and let me get that splinter out. And guess what? When they hurt bad enough, he finally turned and let the zookeeper pull that splinter out of his paw. And once he pulled that splinter out of his paw, now he was running around and playing with the other lions and being, you know, the happy fun lion that he was used to being. Mm-hmm. And that's the same parallel in our life. We have those things that's causing us pain. And we wait till the pain is too unbearable to make the change we can make. And by that time, it's collateral damage. It has grown to the point where it not only affects us, it begins to affect those we love.
Do you think that in that sense it's more challenging for men versus women, or it doesn't really matter? It's just a human thing.
It's a human thing. I would say from a female perspective, I believe women definitely tend to open up to each other more emotionally about what they're going through versus a man.
Mm-hmm. And see, that was the next thing I was going to say, because I do know that it's very rare to find guys speak about just what they think and how they feel freely, because they're just in fear of the backlash. So a lot of times it just bottles up until it blows up, or they think it really doesn't affect them, but subconsciously they don't realize that everything else is crashing down. You know?
Exactly. And usually the first thing that crashes is a man's health, because he's got so much stress pent up in him, and he hasn't internally had a way to release what's going on, release that pressure. And just like plumbing, when the pipes have pressure, if you don't release that pressure, the pipe's going to bust. And that's the reason why heart disease and strokes and heart attacks, those are leading killers, because a lot of men don't have an outlet to feel comfortable to open up.
As a counselor, do you ever see that, it is really a challenge for guys, especially guys in the era of, like, the kids of today compared to guys of back then? or do you find it that as the years are going by, men are becoming more and more aware that, hey, I'm not gonna hold this in. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna express. I'm gonna, I'm not gonna keep this in, compared to back then, where if you're going through something, you don't air your dirty laundry. You keep it to yourself. Man up and strap your boots up, and all those negative connotation that really doesn't benefit the individual at all.
Yeah, I truly believe men, to a certain degree, they still are not open up to what they need to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you still have too many relationships where wives have to pull a man's teeth to get him to talk. Mm-hmm. And when men get around other men, the whole challenge there is, when men are around men, everyone's trying to be macho. Everyone's trying to be the alpha male. And no one wants to look submissive, and no one wants to look weak. So they rather hold the pain in instead of talking about it, because the truth be told, when it comes to men issues, and pretty much it's the same with women issues, going through the same things. We're all going through the same things, maybe on different levels and different degrees, but we're going through the same things. And when we open the dialogue and speak on those things, people, men could definitely should be able to open up. They will be able to open up and get the help,
Now, for men that are like that are unable to open up and speak, what would be your best advice for them in getting the help that they need? Because I definitely know Rise and Burn is definitely the first step, is to get that book. And don't worry, guys, just because the book is released on the 30th of May, 2015, you can actually pre-order this book ahead of time on the link in the description box down below. You see how I plug that?
Yes.
But, first step, Rise and Burn, and what would be your next step for a man that's, going through a lot of trials and tribulations and not being able to get himself out?
Definitely, he has to realign his circle of influence. It's important for him to be in a supportive environment where when he shares how he feels, he's around men who understand what he's going through, who he can talk to, and definitely be able to get different viewpoints on how to deal with different points of life.
Now, the things that stood out to me when I was first reading the book on the Rise and Burn on your website was that other than it said Rise and Burn, break free of the root of your fears. I was like, ooh, okay, all right, let me see. And then you said, what's holding you back? And I was thinking, like, okay, I got a few things, that is holding me back. Then you said, do you ever wonder why you never act on your big ideas? Do you ever wonder where is all the fear coming from when you get ready to do something out of the ordinary? Are you tired of your life not matching the wonderful vision in your head? If you answered yes to any and all of these questions, it is time for you to rise and burn. And then, so that was like a course of action. And I was like, wow.
Yes, it is. This book here is truly a journey of understanding the seeds of your fear and understanding the roots of evil and the root of life, and definitely understanding your circle of influence, definitely rising from the darkness. And once you rise from the darkness, it's so important to find a purpose and passion. And also from there, just really understanding that when it comes to success, the biggest mistake people make with success, they go after money first. Money is money motivated, and then when they get the money, they realize they're not happy. Mm-hmm. It has to be tied to their purpose and passion, and also the main thing, it has to be tied to becoming a better person. Because when in business, people do business with who they know, like, and trust, and just in that aspect right there, when people do business with people, you do business with who you trust, and you want to succeed. People like to be around attractive people. I'm not speaking on physical. I'm speaking on characteristics. When people see a person having integrity, when they see a person with humility, when they see a person pushing forward and executing their ideas and their dreams and goals, that's attractive to people who are looking to grow themselves. And people want to be around people who they can grow, where they can grow. That's the environment people look to, even though they may not say it. but their subconscious draws them to it. It's just like we would hear certain motivational speakers growing up. When I would hear the Les Browns and the Jim Rohns, I would hear things they said and they drew me in without me even trying, because my subconscious was pulling me in that direction. And I realized as I become a better me, I can be all I can be, and the success starts when I realize that as I become a better person and be more of a service to other people, as I help other people achieve their dreams and goals, my dreams and goals are going to be accomplished also.
You know, I have this friend of mine that is also a book writer and things like that. The same friend that I was telling you, because since it's just so crazy how the world attracted, well, how God attracted one book writer, then all of a sudden I have like 7 different book writers for the first season of the Get Inside Me show on Spreaker. So that's why I was like, what? So when you was like, guess what? I wrote a book. I'm like, it's so crazy. I'm keep attracting writers. And it made me excited because it's like, okay, reading has not stopped. So that's definitely a good thing. But Paul Santini, he had made the statement where he was saying the problem with people wanting money is, first you have to understand, if you want money, you have to have the positive intent and mind frame to want it. In order to have money, you have to want it first. Second of all, you can't use people or do whatever you can to walk over people to get money. Your intent is to find people that can surround you to, like you said, a level of the kind of thing that attracts you. Maybe you're an artist or you're a writer or whatever, to bring you around the environment of people that are like that. And in doing what you love, it will then attract money, instead of how everyone's programmed of, I'm going to manipulate, do whatever I can to get to the top, because there's only one number one.
Exactly.
You know. The next thing that I really loved when I saw on your website, it said, in order to be free of what's holding you back, you've got to see what it is you need to burn so you don't burn the wrong thing.
Exactly.
And then you said, when you discover the truth about who you really are, and you become, and you can become a fire, will ignite in your burning away all that binds you, and your dreams will be given new life like a phoenix. From the ashes, you will rise.
Exactly.
I was like, I went to church on that, because I was like, wow.
And what's so important about this right here, this book here, is that there's definitely scripturally somewhat. I definitely has a spiritual background to everything I'm showing here with scripture. So definitely, it's so important for us to realize that early in our life, we've been planted evil seeds in our garden, in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
But also, we got to realize that God planted good seeds. Was up to us to dig up the evil roots and kill it and break them evil roots and burn them, so we can produce a harvest of wealth, health, joy, and peace in our life. We have to nurture the root of life.
It's not an easy process because, of course, since we have done a panel before, on other shows and things like that, I always talk about the law of attraction. And a lot of people always look at it like, oh my gosh, that's not religious, that's like anti-God. And I'm like, well, no, if you know your Bible, if you research it, God speaks about the power of your tongue. Be careful what you say, how you say it. Be careful of your intent, the way you think. You can't pray to God that, hey, God bless me, everything's going to work out. But then your mindset and your spirit saying it's not going to work out. I don't think it's going to happen. Then it's not going to happen. So the power of the whole being, if you think positive, you live positive, you stay positive, everything that is meant for you, that God ordains and blesses for you, will happen. There's no such thing as a time frame of, okay, on Tuesday at 5:00 p.m. you will be best with it. Like, it doesn't work that way, And I guess for a lot of people, they think that, I've been waiting for so long, but it doesn't work that way. It's whatever happens is when it's supposed to happen, And so the thing that I do like about the Rise and Burn when it comes to this book, of course, you said you can't just only plant good seeds and expect it to come out with, even better ones, because in order for the better ones to continue growing and not to be infested or taken down, you have to work on getting rid of all the things that is holding you back. That is a whole concept that is brand new, and it definitely is needed to be stated for this year. Never thought about that. Never. Because, when you go to church, just like, every Sunday last year was all about seeds, planting seeds, but I've never heard of, getting rid of negative. Never. Because in your mind, you always program that if I plant this much, it's going to happen. It's like, yeah, but you could be investing all your time and energy into all the great stuff, but until you knock off all the things that has been holding you back, that's not beneficial to you, it will take precedent and knock over all of the good that you put in to begin with. And you never really think about that. So thank you so much for making that so clear with, Rise and Burn.
Exactly. And I think one thing you said, that what kind of distracts people when they know they're dealing with multiple things that they're trying to, let's say multiple fears they're dealing with because of hurt, the pain, the anguish, the defeat, the depression. It's just that comes to a new focus on focus. Because focus is truly the foundation pillar of great achievement. Look at the achievement of anyone who's done anything great, from Henry Ford up to Bill Gates of now. It took focus, And if a person wants to be good or great at anything, they have to make sure they're focused on what they're trying to accomplish. And one of the best ways that has helped me with my focus is the prayer and meditation.
Oh, definitely meditation.
That is so crucial.
And prayer.
Because in our own minds, truly, we can only do so much. But when we look at Philippians, we say through Christ, we could do all things. That's truly the time when we truly tap into our focus with Him, and He's able to do what we can't do. And when people can get to that, with dealing with themselves, that's when they truly will see themselves grow to a new level and rise above the person they thought they couldn't become.
Now, I have a question. Well, not a question, more so of a comment from Ariel Cummings, which I thank you so much for, speaking with her. For that was really cool. She was like excited, like what? What she said was, I love his opinion on MLM and being one's own boss. Okay, if you don't mind, what is MLM, and what do you mean by saying being your own boss?
Multi-level marketing, and pretty much being your own boss. A lot of people, especially in this economy we're in now, a person is truly starting a home-based business, truly supplement their income, and to really pursue their financial independence.
So that was, okay, so now I see, because I know she's a business owner herself, so that's why I'm like, okay. When she said that, I'm like, okay, because she had a lot of questions. I'm like, okay, I didn't write the book, but I can hook you up with the man who created this book. Micheal Muse, are there any advice you would like to give to anyone, since we're winding down on time, who is going through hardship, or, probably like, I don't know if this book is really the direction I want to go, because to me, I would think anything that self-help to me is not only just books, videos, and things. It's just basically anything that helps you become a better you. Because being crazy is doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome. So you have to have a different game plan. Maybe the game plan you're working on is not great, but having a game plan of somebody else's perspective is even better.
Exactly. I would say, to make everything quick, pretty much plant new seeds, burn the evil root, realign your circle of influence of people, become a service to your church, your community, and people around you, and definitely putting in a discipline that needs to be done to grow and become a better you, so you can rise.
You know what? Thank you so much, Micheal Muse, for coming on today's show. Of course, I'm going to also have you on, for those of you guys who may not know, on a panel with all the other authors that have appeared on Spreaker with the Get Inside Me show. I am so excited and happy early birthday since your birthday is on the 30th. Everyone, do not forget to get this book. You will find everything you need to know about Micheal Muse and Rise and Burn in the description box down below. Have a good night. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.